Boys and girls, this is the magic door to the wonderful magic toy shop.
Hello, I'm Ron Curtis.
Hafner's Red Barn, like it used to be.
Goldberg's, the money saver.
The Bebop Shop, Liverpool, where music is still fun.
Oh, Duncan O'Bright, oh, Duncan O'Bright, oh, Duncan O'Bright, oh, Duncan O'Bright.
It's happening now at Penn Can Mall.
Well, hello there, bloody buddies. This is your old pal, Baron Damon, for the Syracuse Nostalgia Podcast.
Hello, welcome to Syracuse Nostalgia Podcast, Episode 5. Coming to you from a different location this time. It's Angell Lair Studios in lovely Fulton, New York. Courtesy of my friend Zadoc Angell, who is with me today. How you doing, Zadoc?
Howdy, I'm doing well.
And also my other buddy from several decades ago is Bob Staffa. How you doing?
Former roommate.
Yeah, exactly.
You could say that.
Yeah.
Compadre.
Yeah. Roommate for a good 15 years or something, it felt like.
Wrestling opponent.
Right.
For a nice program.
Yeah. And we are still the longest reigning Syracuse Nostalgia podcast ever, if you can believe it. And also, I couldn't believe that we've had 5 episodes and I haven't really talked about Penn Can Mall.
How does that happen?
I don't know.
You've got commercials there. So.
Did I have a Penn Can Mall commercial?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, in the intro I do.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I guess I try not to be too predictable, I guess, is the word. But, yeah, Penn Can Mall, yeah, I grew up there. It was pretty much, my after-school hangout almost every day.
If you were from North Syracuse, Cicero, Mattydale, you grew up there.
Oh, yeah. I was from North Syracuse. I think you were, too.
Oh, yeah.
Zadoc was from the other side of the tracks. So
I was from Liverpool, but we had no Great Northern Mall at that time, so Penn Can was our
okay.
That's right.
go-to.
So, yeah, I would walk there, or if you're lucky enough to get a friend who had a car, he would drive you there. But
walking was fine, though, back in that day.
Yeah.
Where I was, we'd sneak right back through Bear Road Apartments and all that stuff. And there was a little path around near Bear Road School, I should say, that went down to the back and then took you right out onto the street, follow that right up. It wasn't a problem.
So what were some of your favorite spots?
Oh, my God. Did you have a ritual where you went?
Yeah.
I mean, I used to have a semi-ritual. I'd have to hit the same food places usually.
Yeah, I used to go in through Hills and go to the Record Town from there and go down the way, maybe trip up the aisle, go the little ramp.
Marjack's.
I had no reason to go there because I hated sports.
But just the look of the place and the smell of the place, because I did sports, so I had to go in there.
You didn't do sports.
Yeah, I did. I played baseball for 4 years. I played football a year.
He said he did sports. He did not.
Not in high school, but before.
You're as lazy as I am. What are you talking about?
I did sports, man.
Well,
Salt City Little League and Pop Warner football, the Clay Panthers.
But anyway, next to Marjack's was the mattress store.
Mm-hmm.
And
Sugar and Spice up the way.
A friend of mine, Brian D'Angelo, used to take naps in those beds.
Of course I know Brian. Didn't we all do that, though?
Yeah, I think so. Well, then coming up through after Record Town, you would see the jewelry kiosk. And we know who worked there, right?
Mike White.
Yeah, the guy from Manslaughter for a while. And you could hear him on that damn phone all the way down to the other end of the mall, and his laugh. But, my ritual would be Record Town, then maybe hit Cabbages and go to Pavone's.
Of course Pavone's was your favorite. I loved Pavone's. It wasn't my all-time favorite in there, but that pizza, there's nothing that will ever compare to it. Just the way it was made, the way you would get all the cheese, and sometimes you'd glomp it up and eat the whole ball of cheese. I would anyway.
I didn't do that.
I did.
Were you a Pavone's guy, Zadoc?
I liked Pavone's, but I was more of a Gino and Joe's guy up Liverpool.
Oh, all right.
Seneca Mall.
Yeah, I enjoed Seneca Mall.
It was a little far away from me, but
Those are right up the road.
Wow.
Baskin Robbins.
So was it Seneca Mall? Was that a real mall, or was it?
It was
like an outdoor one?
It was kind of a strip mall, but it was enclosed back in the 80s.
Yep.
Oh, okay. So
I mean, we had like a Phase Drugs, an arcade, we had a bookstore in there, Gino and Joe's. We had Johnny Joe Toys.
Oh, Johnny Joe Toys. Love Johnny Joe Toys. They that's where Kmart is now, right? That plaza.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Kmart's actually closing.
Okay, I just read that today. Yeah.
Another one. They're taking away our childhood, man. Cinema North closing. Sportsorama already, or Cinema North getting torn down.
Oh, yeah.
But Sportsorama getting torn down, all that stuff.
Yeah. It's too bad about Kmart. I mean, I can't say I've been there in 15 years or bought anything there in 15 years.
We got to go back to Penn Can, though. We haven't even scratched the surface on that thing.
Oh, yeah. But I wanted to say one thing about Seneca Mall, or that area.
You won't even call it a mall. It was a mall.
The McDonald's that used to be there had one of those awesome playgrounds. Do you remember that? Was that there?
I used to work there.
Really?
There,
at the playground?
The playground was mostly taken out.
Took care of itself?
Yeah.
Oh. No, it was there in the early 90s. It was still there. I don't know when you worked there. But
I was there from about like 93 or 94 or 95.
Because my old band, Greasy Feces, that was the name, we had a photo shoot in that playground. Because it was like one of the only ones left at the time. It had the big Mary McCheese thing where you could go hide inside, and it had Ronald McDonald with his hand in the air, when people can pretend they're slapping his hand. It had the little things you ride back and forth on. I don't know what you call those things.
Fry Guys.
There's Fry Guys, yeah, but I don't know what you call the thing you see in the playground. Sometimes it's a horse or a dolphin or something.
Carousel type thing?
No, it's you sit on it one person and you just like rock back and forth.
Rocket. It's like a big spring underneath.
Yeah, those were Fry Guys. That was fantastic. We can go back to Penn Can for a bit. But yeah, after Pavone's, and then I would, if I had money, I'd go hit the arcade. The great games.
Everybody'd have to hit the arcade. That usually was one of my first stops.
I was going to ask. Yes, arcade first. You didn't.
Usually, I didn't really have a set pattern. There were just certain places I had to hit. Didn't matter when. But the arcade is where I'd try to spend most of my time. I wasn't phenomenal at any game, but I like to try them all,
Now, were you like a connoisseur, like with the Marketplace arcade, like that I had to like go between? Because Penn Can had like the sit-down Star Wars arcade game.
Oh, yeah.
So that was like a must hit from there, but like Double Dragon never hit Penn Can Mall.
Didn't
You
it?
had to go to Marketplace.
The original wrestling game was at Marketplace Mall, too. It was not at Penn Can. So that became a very, very favorite of mine right there, the Marketplace.
Yeah.
And they sold videos, too. They rented videos in there, right?
Yeah, I think I remember that, yeah.
It seemed like the Marketplace seemed more like a scary adult arcade to me as a kid. Like it was all like pitch black, and you had to go like around a little corner to get inside. And all the big kids were there.
What about Baskin Robbins? We're not talking about that place.
Yeah.
The little clown ice creams they had. The ice cream cone was on top. It was a hat.
Upside down.
Yeah, and they had the faces and all the different flavors. Oh.
Can't say I remember that one.
Those were awesome. Eric and Ralph's, which is more of looked like an uppity place. They had a different kind of sandwiches and stuff. This clam sandwich, that shrimp sandwich that I really enjoyed. Burger Haas. They had a great clam sandwich.
See, I never had enough money to go to the real restaurants in Penn Can.
Real restaurants.
Just
What about the Great American Kitchen?
Oh, yeah.
That was great.
I never went there either, but I used to love it because didn't it? It just said restaurant.
Yeah.
On top of
yeah.
Signs said restaurant.
Right?
Like that rules. You can't get more generic.
The arcade and the movie theater.
Yeah, that movie theater, man. I saw a lot of stuff up in there.
Do you guys ever eat at the Great American?
Yeah.
Once or twice. I didn't hit that place an awful lot. Once or twice.
Is it good food? I mean,
it was like a greasy diner.
Oh, okay.
Like just cheap crap, but good food.
Okay. Yeah, because going there, I probably had $2 in my pocket for a piece of pizza, and that was about it.
And then Dicktronics, you can't forget about, the place we always got our concert tickets.
Oh yeah, I remember waiting outside the door.
Yep.
Line up at 2 or 3 in the morning to go and get your tickets, and then
lots of people in there.
They had them handwritten on the wall. The concert's coming up.
They had them on little index cards,
yeah.
if I'm not mistaken.
I know.
And you'd say, I want that one.
Sounds so archaic now, but
oh, it was great.
It's like whoever got there first got the best seats. No way.
Well, the people that worked there, I'm sure, skimmed a couple off the top, but that's just the way it is, man.
Yeah. But yeah, the arcade. Do you remember the crazy old guy that worked there?
I don't know if I do.
No? Well, yeah, he was. He would always yell at the kids, especially if anybody tried to smoke in the arcade or or just cause trouble. You kids, get out of my arcade! And then the kids.
I don't remember that.
No, crazy old guy, white hair.
Maybe I never got in trouble, so I.
Oh. Then the kids would go to the railing for about 5 minutes and go back in, and he'd forget you were there originally. So then I actually worked with him at Camillus Mall many years later. So.
Did you also used to take the straw of your Slurpee over the railing and accidentally, on purpose, drop some Slurpee down on the people below?
I did not.
I didn't either, but I've seen it. I'm just saying, I've seen it happen.
I did not.
I don't think I was that sadistic back then.
No. I had seen it happen. You can't prove it was me. I'm not saying it wasn't, but I was with people that would do that once in a while.
It's okay if it was long enough ago, if you want to admit it.
The limitations is over.
Yeah,
they're
exactly.
Up. So,
no, the worst I did, I actually got banned from the mall for a year at one point. You remember when the new wing came on with Chapels?
Yeah.
And there was a fountain. So I wanted to play. I needed some quarters for the arcade, so I went digging in the fountain for quarters. And the mall cop caught me. And I was a smart ass at the time. Not anymore, of course, but
of course. Because we've all grown up.
Yeah.
We've gotten older, let's put it that. None of us have grown up. I don't think any in this group.
We're all adults. Anyway, the security guard caught me, and he told me to throw it back, and he was all pissed. So instead of just throwing it back and saying, I'm sorry, I stopped and closed my eyes and put my hands on my heart and like I was making a wish. And that flipped him right the hell out. Yeah, he went crazy just because I made a wish before I threw the money back, and he took me up to the office and called my mother and said I was banned from the mall for a year. And my mother came up and got me, and she said she thought the guy was ridiculous. She's like, really, he's on a big power trip. But
your wish should have been not to get kicked out of the mall.
I can't. Yeah, it's funny. I can't remember what my wish was. But yeah, as it seemed obvious, you're going to throw money in back of the fountain. You got to make a wish. That's the point. But anyway, I think I stayed out of the mall for 2 days. I went back the third day. I had my hair pulled back and a hat on, and nobody said anything. So that I just kept going back on a regular basis after that.
Creeper.
What?
You were a creeper.
Okay.
Dressing up incognito.
Yeah. Well, then just for 1 or 2 days, then I got rid of the hat and the ponytail, and nobody cared.
Nobody remembered.
Yeah, the guy just wanted to pretend he was powerful or something. Then also the little ramps that I mentioned. You remember the wacky ramps with the stairs on either side? Those were fun to do pratfalls on. Especially if you got a giant drink in your hand from Pavone's or the Chinese place. That would give you the big jumbo Coke.
Mr. Egg Roll?
Egg Roll, yeah.
That was in Marketplace, right? Mr. Egg Roll?
It was in Penn Can as well.
Oh, there was one in Penn Can?
Next to Pavone's, yeah. And you get a big, fat 40-gallon jug for $1. And, so yeah, I'd be walking down the ramp and then trip on nothing, go head over heels down the ramp, and the soda would go everywhere. So that was my fun at the mall.
He would bump out of nowhere.
I would amuse myself. And, the security couldn't really get pissed at me because, I tripped.
Yeah,
Look, it's your
oh, my God, are you okay? I'm going to sue. Oh, my God, no.
It's your damn railing's fault. It wasn't my fault.
Now, did you ever film any of these with your video camera?
Not the tripping part. No, but we went to the mall several times with the camera. And that was...
Yeah, when cameras came out, you were one of the guys that took them everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
Everywhere. You have documentation. I'm sure you put a bunch of it up on Syracuse Nostalgia.
Well, I actually have a DVD for sale at PennCanMall.com of all the old footage. No, I do. I'm laughing, but I do for real. Yeah, it was like the size of my torso, the camera.
Yeah, it was. They were.
And you had it on your shoulder, and the one I rented one at first, and it had a VCR that connected to it, and you had to wear the VCR in a backpack. So you had this freaking backpack and this huge thing on your shoulder walking through the mall. And
did they get mad when you brought it through CNS, or were they like, did you say, I'm studying to be a roving reporter, it's my aspiration in life?
I didn't bring it to CNS.
You never did?
No, my friend. I have some footage, but that's from my friend Aaron.
Oh, that's right.
His camera.
That's right, I remember.
But I don't think anybody cared, really.
So yeah, security didn't really care that much about cameras and stuff like that.
Well, yeah, I don't think
they were so new. They didn't know what they were.
They didn't know what they were. Yeah, there were some people that one guy that got really pissed. I thought I was filming his girlfriend, and you could see it on the tape. He yells at me and like, "Yeah, I brought this huge camera just because I knew you and your girlfriend would be here, and I wanted to film her." But yeah, most people didn't know what it was. They didn't think it was real. Like I was.
Or they thought you were somebody important. They thought you were really a reporter.
I did get away with that sometimes. From Penn Can and Sweetheart Market and stuff.
Now, did you have a Betamax recorder or did you have a VHS recorder?
The video camera was VHS, but I had Beta machines at home. First thing we had was Beta. But
they don't even make VHS players anymore. The last company to stop doing it released them last year.
Really? Well, I'm screwed then because I have like 18,000 boxes of them at home still.
Nice. Yeah. Unopened?
No, I mean with stuff on them.
With stuff.
Yeah, that I have
your tapes, yeah.
My old tapes, yeah.
But I'm sure you can find secondhand ones around, and some nostalgia stores are probably going to keep them, Maybe the Soundgarden, something like that, will have them.
What was that store? I don't think it was Radio Shack, but a place that sold cameras and videotapes on the first floor next to Cabbage's.
I'm totally at a loss for that, but I know what you mean.
Something video stores, I don't know, Vinny's or Joey's Video or something. What was it? Well, anyway, I remember Billy Long worked there. And then later I found out, he's a friend of ours from school, and I later found out he was in the station fire in Rhode Island.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he was one of the survivors from that. He was like managing the opening band, I think, or something.
What was that place, Something Bizarre, where you used to get all that metal patches for your jacket, and they had the pins and big banners? Wasn't it called Something Bizarre?
Was it just Gift Bazaar? Gift Bazaar, I think.
Yeah. That was a great place, man. They had everything that a metal kid would need.
Was that the place that had those weird things that I didn't know what they were at the time?
Yeah,
that kind of looked like vases, but then really small on the end.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what the hell they were. And
I think you drink out of them.
Was it? I'm still not
straws.
Sure they were. You don't have any experience with that, right?
Could be a banana pipe.
Banana pipe.
I didn't look at those.
They sold those
the patches and the banners and the pins. That's what I was there for.
Okay. After I'll go back to the traditions of stuff I used to do. Upstairs, after the arcade, I usually would go to the pet store.
Absolutely.
Talk to the dogs that were there, or the kitties, or whoever used to be there.
It's where I got my first ferret.
Oh.
No, my second ferret I got from there.
Well, get it right.
Okay.
Damn it. The haircut place.
Yes, I remember my mom used to go to that place quite a bit. I may have gone there once or twice, but my mom used to go there regularly.
Yeah, I used to get my hair cut there whenever I had to. And then, of course, the Lowe's Theater.
Loved it.
Lowe's 1, 2, and 3. I think I saw all the original Star Wars there. E.T., there was a line going out to almost to the end of the balcony, like the other side.
Where'd you see Star Wars, Zadoc?
I didn't see it until the reissue. I was like 2 years old when the first movie came out.
Gotcha.
So I didn't get to see it till Empire came out, and I saw it at Shopping Town's theaters.
Nice.
The one that's detached from the mall.
Yes.
Right.
My dad took me to Bayberry Theater.
Yeah.
It's right in the Bayberry Plaza right there.
Okay.
And so that's always...
I don't remember there being a theater there.
Memory. Yeah, there was down at the end. It was a separate building down at the end.
Oh, nice. Well, yeah,
I'm just bringing it up because Star Wars with all the stuff they have going on now. And
I think that was...
The anniversary, man. I can't believe it's that old.
But I'm pretty sure, yeah. I mean, the first one I'm a little fuzzy about because I was 4 or 5. But I think I saw them all there at Penn Can. And I used to love that theater. You go like up 5 steps, I think, go and buy your ticket. And then to the left, there's, Lowe's 1, 2, and 3. And to the right's the popcorn. Bathroom straight ahead. I can still picture it all. And the stupid floor that would always mess with my head with the squirrely lines.
Yep, yeah, absolutely. We can't describe it, but if people were there, they can see it in their head. They remember what it is.
They can buy a DVD.
Yeah, right, yeah, I have a picture of it, yeah. Actually, I took a screenshot of the floor for my DVD and posted it online. I had people guess what it was. Some people got it. So they do remember. But let me see what else. Probably Raiders of the Lost Ark I saw there. E.T. Oh, Pee-wee's Big Adventure. Remember, I was really happy when Twisted Sister showed up in that movie.
I know the last movie I ever saw there. It was a little while before they closed it down. Nothing good. Dr. Giggles, it was called.
Dr. Giggles.
Yeah, nothing good. If you're a horror movie buff, you might know.
Dr. Giggles.
I don't have many thoughts on it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Other than you do know what it is.
Yeah. One film I can attest that I saw at Penn Can was Howard the Duck.
Oh, I love that movie.
Sorry?
People, why you're sorry, man? Why are you sorry? I love that movie. To this day, I'll watch it.
I've got it on DVD.
Ham, what are you doing here, brother?
I don't know.
Trying to throw shade on a good movie.
And I ain't hating on Howard the Duck. I just don't really care about him. But I'm sure y'all remember the theme song.
Of course.
I won't sing it because I can't sing, but thank you for coming to Lowe's. Sit back, enjoy the show. Relax. Oh,
enjoy the show.
Sit back, relax, enjoy the show.
And they didn't say turn off your cell phones because, well, we didn't have them.
Yes. They did say no smoking, I believe. Because you could smoke in the mall.
You smoke everywhere.
You could smoke in the mall, but not in the theaters or the arcade. You can smoke everywhere else in the mall. Not that I did. I didn't smoke, but...
Well, you may have anybody that was near you blowing the smoke around.
Oh, God.
So you got the tar in your lungs.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure I have.
Or not.
I'm sure I have damage.
And your clothes would smell like it.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure I have.
But look at the money you saved.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got
more than switching to Geico.
You got all the benefits of cigarette smoking without having to buy anything.
Aren't we lucky?
All right, I suppose we'll take a break here, and today's interview is with Peter Zangari Jr. He's got some great stories of old North Syracuse and Cicero area, including one really twisted story about a bootlegger. Wait till you hear that one. It's really, really cool. So we'll be back in a minute.
Our 2D2 Heartthrob is back at Penn Can Mall for the sizzling sidewalk sale. This Thursday through Sunday, Will Butler's Transistors will be singing and tingling all day Saturday and Sunday as he strolls throughout the mall. Show out to Penn Can Mall to take advantage of the biggest sale of them all this Thursday through Sunday.
Hello, welcome back to Syracuse Nostalgia Podcast, episode 5. With me on the phone today is Peter Zangari. Am I saying that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Hi, Peter. How are you today?
Great, thank you.
So, Peter,
Peter's family, pretty much going back many generations, has owned a lot of businesses around the Syracuse, North Syracuse area. We have Pete's Diner, Zangari Liquor Store, Nestico's. I'm probably missing some here.
Tom's Clam Bar in North Syracuse.
Right.
The Clam Cove, and the most the recent one is Frank's Plank Grove Cafe out in Cicero. That's still operated by the family. Yep. Wow.
Yep. I originally got in touch with Peter because of your cousin, Thomas Mafrici. He's a former historian for Cicero. He helped me out with some pictures and stuff a couple of years ago. So he's the one who connected us together, and he's also a very good lawyer. If you want to check with him, it's mafricilaw.com, I believe. And we tried to get together with your father, but that didn't quite work out. He's not feeling well, he said.
Yeah, he gave it his best shot, but he's afraid that he'll forget things and everything. So we got most of the information from him. I did actually, as far as the family goes. I worked for the family since 9 years old in the restaurants and liquor stores, in the insurance and real estate dealings that we've had through the 60s. So I'm the keeper of the keys, as they say.
Well, that's good. Oh yeah, Thomas gave me some topics that sounded really interesting. If you want to start way back, I think it would be your great uncle Bruno Nestico.
Correct.
You want to tell a story about that?
Yeah. In 1926, and Bruno Nestico happened to be 26 years old at the time. But in any event, around 1926, he came to the country, and there was the Prohibition era, and there was a lot of bootlegging involved. And Bruno Nestico is actually Julie Nestico's uncle, that the Julie's restaurant and Nestico's restaurants in the Syracuse area. In any event, he was doing some dealings, and I know you got the articles on it. He was doing some dealings and moving some wine and beer and whiskey around the area. It was kind of skimming a little bit off the top, a little bit more than he was entitled to. People got upset with it, and they set a trap for him. And then, unfortunately, in 1926, he ran into a shootout. No other way to say it. And he was fatally wounded there. And we thought it was in Cicero, but Tommy did some research, and it actually was in the hotel was in Mattydale, where the roller skating rink formerly was, right there on Route 11. So that was a hotel back in the 20s, and that's where he met his fate.
Right, where the Mattydale with the roller skating rink was?
Exactly, correct. Yeah.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah. So that was that. At the time, the police and the community were a little bit closer knit than they are now. And we ended up, the Nestico family ended up with his gun, and there was a five-shot nickel-plated .38 caliber, and it passed down through the family to my father, and now my sister is a deputy sheriff for Onondaga County, and she took possession of it as a historical piece.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yes, I understand he tried to sell kegs of alcohol during Prohibition, but they were filled with water. Is that right?
Well, yeah, they weren't 100% the product. Yes, they were. He had like a bladder in there of the real product, and then he kind of diluted the rest of it with water. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And there was some. They set him up, and there was some controversy over who actually shot him. There's a couple different stories out there. Like I said, a little Tommy did more research than
than the family traditional hand-me-down stories. One story had that the state troopers were involved in the shooting. Another story had it that the mob itself set them up. So yeah, whatever the article says at the time is probably the most accurate, but you never know, you know.
Right. Yeah, they said they set them up, and then there was, people from the hotel and the cops were there, and nobody knew who shot who or what happened.
Yeah. Well, let's put it this way: they know who shot who. It's just that the way they passed the stories on, it got blurry. That was pretty common back then. Yeah, that was pretty common back then. There was another family incident that I don't think little Tommy is too much aware of. But I got a story about something else that happened similar to what we're talking about now. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Go ahead.
Well, here's the deal. My grandfather on my mother's side had the Rendezvous restaurant down in Clinton Square in the early days. Nice big restaurant, Italian restaurant. And my father, when he was growing up, he was a tended bar there. The story goes that there was a fight in there with another Nestico, great uncle, and got in a fight inside the restaurant. He hit a guy, an African American. He fell and hit his head, and he got scared. This was back in the 40s and 50s, and the owner which was my grandfather of the restaurant, instructed the Nestico to go home and that he would take care of it. The police came and the owner says that the guy just fell and hit his head and slipped and fell. And at the time, the investigation was very, very limited. So they just took it at face value and went on with business as usual.
So the guy die there, or he just got seriously hurt, or?
Yeah, seriously hurt. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. So,
yeah.
Was your father born here in Syracuse, or?
Yeah, he was. Yep, he was born in Syracuse. My other uncle Nick was an interesting character also, and I was real close to him. He was born in Italy.
Oh, okay.
Yes, yeah. He was Nick Zangari, and my father had the liquor store in North Syracuse. They moved out of the North Side in the 50s, along with a group of well-noted people from the North Side at the time. North Syracuse at the time was expanding, and my father and Uncle Nick had a liquor store on Butternut Street. Across the street from them was Chinelli's Meat Market, and they were friends with Spinelli and George Jelsman of Sweetheart Corner. The three of them got together, and they opened up a supermarket at Sweetheart Corner in North Syracuse, with my dad as a tenant at the liquor store, and the Chinellis moved into as a tenant for the meat market. So it was three businesses at that corner all through the 60s through the 70s. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, so that was before they built the big Sweetheart Market. That was the one just on the corner.
Exactly. That was the original store. It was like converted houses and then a little market on the side. Yeah.
All right.
And the people that moved out of the North Side, that group, along with the Zangaris, Chinellis, was Dr. John Marola, North Medical. He was a North Sider that moved out to North Syracuse, and his dream was, him and Dr. Marlowe, dream was a hospital north. Through the 60s, they wanted to build a hospital north, and that's what they wanted to call it, and it evolved into North Medical, which was John Marola was very, very successful building there. Again, he was a friend of the families from the North Side, along with Joe Scuderi, who has Wide Waters, all the Wide Waters that you see, and that whole group were all the same age, and they saw the opportunity with the airport, the air base, along with Electronics Parkway, which brought a lot of NASA engineers into the area, and it blew North Syracuse up as a village, a perennial growth village for around 9 consecutive years, and it still holds records for being that high of growth. Yeah.
Yeah, because I was talking to the Jelsimans, a month or so ago, and the older George Senior was telling me that he owned the land, which is the North Medical Center, and he was trying to sell it to a supermarket at the time, and he couldn't. Nobody would buy it for some reason, and then he ended up selling it to the guy you mentioned who turned it into North Medical Center.
You're starting to break up, Brian.
Oh, he was George was saying that that land that was North Medical Center, he was trying to sell it to be a supermarket at the time.
Yeah.
And no one would buy it from him, so he eventually sold it to the man you mentioned. From the hospital.
Dr. John Morello, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So, but I mean, before that time, North Syracuse was basically farmland before the big boom, kind of in the 50s and 60s, right?
Yeah. There's a funny story about that too, if you got a minute.
Yeah.
See, right there at Sweetheart our corner, I had to be about 13 years old. I was working in my dad's liquor store, and just got done mopping the liquor store. And the little old man, not old, but to me, I was 13. A man comes in all dirty and muddy, with boots on, and tracking through the store. And he was buying little pints. If anybody's familiar with wine, little pints of Thunderbird. I don't think they make it anymore, and white port. And he was buying all these little pints, and he left the store, and he got the floor all dirty. Okay. So I said to my dad, I go, "Geez, Dad," I go, "why did you let that bum in here?" And my father took me outside, and after the gentleman left, and he pointed east towards the airport, and he says, "Look down there." And I go, "Okay." Then he pointed west towards Liverpool, and he goes, "Look that way." And I look. He goes, "That bum owns most of what you see." And it was Jake Hafner. Hafner's Farms, yeah.
Oh, wow.
And there was, he says, he was buying, I go, "Dad, what do you buy all that cheap wine for?" He goes, "Well, the workers are out in the field. He bought them lunch." And at the time, I didn't understand it, but I get it.
Yeah. That's funny.
So that was their lunch, and but a good lesson to be taught that don't judge a book, right?
Yeah, really.
Cover. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, North Syracuse was heavy German influence before the Italians moved in there in the 60s. It still is. I mean, you got the Hinderwaddles, the Hafners, Kirsch, Byrne. They from Byrne Dairy, Kirsch Dairy. They own a lot of property there in North Syracuse. Yeah.
Yeah. So Tom was telling me about when your father and uncle first got into the liquor business. It was Nick that got the license.
Correct. Nick was in the service, and my father was working at the time at the Bersani's, which everybody worked at Bersani's Italian restaurant on the north side, and saved his money. And then when Nick got out of the service, there was his buddy was a chief of the boat in New York City. He says, "Listen," he says, "Prohibition's over, and the liquor licenses in New York are given first preference to service guys that are coming out of the war." So Nick didn't save any money, so he got my father. My father had $2,000 that he saved, and he says, "We can get a liquor license from the chief down in New York City. We can put our name in there as an officer, however they finagled their way to do it, because there was a moratorium on liquor licenses. They were not like now. They were real tough to get back in the day. But the servicemen had a leg up, and he had to kind of grease some palms down there in the Albany, New York City area, and that was done. And they got their liquor license, and they started on Butternut Street. Yeah.
Wow, it's interesting because George Jelsman, again, he had a similar situation. He was saying that he was in World War II, and because of that, it made him easy to get sugar, because that was, I guess that was rationed off at the time. Like you couldn't get sugar for supply for stores. So that was
correct. Yeah.
That's how he got into the Sweetheart Corner business, because they made ice cream.
Yeah.
And they needed the sugar.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's interesting that they gave the servicemen priority, and that's how these things got started.
Correct. Yes.
So I guess there's some funny stories about when they worked at the liquor store. There was a train car with some.
Well, I happened to be there at the time. My father is to this day still doesn't really want even like me to talk about it. But in any event.
Well, that's up to you. You don't have to.
No, it's funny. No, there's nothing wrong. I mean, it was a Saturday afternoon in the 70s there, and my there was a train. I mean, a carload. When I say a carload, it was a couple $100,000 worth of J&B Scotch, and so we were in the liquor business, and my Uncle Nick, who ended up being a sheriff out in Las Vegas until he died about 7, 8, 10 years ago. But anyway, at the time he says, listen, get yourself a couple buddies and go down there and help unload this train car of Scotch. You know, we were in the liquor business. I thought nothing of it. So what happened, we go down on a Saturday afternoon, we unload this train load of Scotch to some guys in trucks, right?
Right.
And they drive off on their way, and we get our $20 each, and everybody's happy. Well, the following Monday, I was in the liquor store with my dad, and the regular liquor salesman comes in and noticed that we were low on J&B Scotch, and he says to my father, he says, Pete, he says, you need some J&B. Let me order you a case. I says, Dad, you don't have to order a case. We just unloaded a couple hundred. And he goes, go in the back room and shut up. So my father, in front of the salesman, right? You know,
right.
I mean, my father knew something was up, but he didn't know quite what. But he didn't want to elaborate in front of strangers, right?
Right.
So then I told him the story, and he kind of shook his head and never heard anything else about it. But needless to say that we never got any of that Scotch. Where it went, where it came from, I still don't know. But I got an idea.
That's weird. Yeah, you can make a guess.
Yeah, I'm thinking it came up from the city, from New York, got lost, and it got lost, and somebody knew where it was, and the underground talked to each other, and then it disappeared. Things like that used to happen quite a bit, I guess. I don't know.
I hear. I also heard that Nick reported he was robbed one day after losing the game.
1967. Yeah, it was Christmas Eve in 1967, and Christmas Eve was our busiest day of the year, and so we parked our Cadillacs. Everybody had the Italians, they all had Cadillacs back then. Anyway, so we parked his Cadillac across the street at Uncle Tommy's Clam Bar, still there today. There was a little driveway there on the left-hand side. So he would park there, and at the end of about 10 o'clock at night, at the end of Christmas Eve, Uncle Nick and our Angelo, one of our clerks, with a sawed-off shotgun, took the deposits to go make the night deposit. People that this generation probably don't know, but night deposits were very common for businesses to go to the bank, and there was a chute, and you would just drop your money in there and retrieve it the next day at the bank. So we were he was on his way to the night deposit, and as they got into the car, somebody popped out of the back seat with a pistol and made them drive to the air base. They made them walk where the bus station is there and on Taft Road there, and made them walk across the field. Now the gentleman, the clerk that was with Uncle Nick, was shaking and scared, and he had the shotgun, but he just left it on the floor. And they walked across the field. They thought they were going to get shot. Story from Angelo. Then they found the car at Kmart Northern Lights Plaza later on in the night. Now, what happened to the money? Nobody knows. But Uncle Nick, he was shaken up and everything, but he was more calm than normal. Should have been. So who knows what transpired? Nick was a character. He was he was a playboy. He was a businessman. He was smart. He started cable TV in North Syracuse. He was very, very smart, but he didn't like to lose. He was a charter member with Hugh Hefner at the first Playboy Club. At them times they had to have a gold key to get. It was really elite. I mean, it was a special club to belong to, and there was only a number of gold members, and Knuckle Nick was one of them, and he would go on trips in the 60s to the Playboy Club in Chicago mostly, and then New York City, and the Puerto Rico was a big one. So yeah, he got around real good. Uncle Nicky, he was a character. Yeah.
Yes, the notes I have from Tom was that I don't know if this is the same story, but yeah, he said Nick gambled away the money, then reported it was he was robbed.
Yeah,
that's same story, or?
Well, he wasn't. I don't know if he gambled it. When you say gambling, people think of dice and cards.
Right.
The way we look at gambling is business opportunities. Not so much of betting on games or anything, but betting on cable TV. When they invested in cable TV in North Syracuse, the church and the town voted it down for years and years and years, and they lost all their investment for cable. Now everybody takes it for granted at cable TV, but for a long time they voted it down, and that was quite a gamble. Yep.
So he didn't end up getting the rights to cable, or?
No, when things happened with the change of the liquor laws and the moratorium on liquor licenses was lifted, so things started going sour there in the middle 70s, and so they couldn't afford to hold on to their stocks in the cable company, so they sold it. And I think George, if I'm not mistaken, George Jelsman held his, and a trooper Al Skeeney had a large stake in the cable business too. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yes, I imagine that would have been worth quite a bit because it took off real quick. Around 1980 or so.
Absolutely. There's another funny story about Ray Kroc visited the area where there's a Citizens Bank in Cicero right now, across from Wegmans, next to the Hess gas station. They used to be called the Country Squire Restaurant back in the early 60s. And Ray Kroc was selling Hamilton Beach spindle machines, and he had just got in with the McDonald brothers out in California, and he was trying to get franchisees, and he approached the Chinellis, at the time owned the Country Squire. He approached them to make that a McDonald's, and they would have been on the ground floor at the McDonald's, and they said they were selling hamburgers for 35 cents, and Ray Kroc says, well, our model is you got to eat hamburgers for 15 cents. And they looked at Ray Kroc and says, I'm selling hamburgers now for 35 cents, and you want me to sell them for 15 cents? And they kind of laughed at Ray, and
right.
And that's a McDonald's story. Yeah, sure did.
So I grew up in the 70s, and one of the places I remember most is Pete's Diner.
Right.
Over, it was in the old Switz's Plaza, North Plaza, right?
Yeah, Switz's Plaza, correct.
Okay, yeah. So how long did your family own that?
Well, let's see here. We after the liquor store, he got into a few other little deals, but then he settled with the diner probably in 1979, 1980, and ran it very successfully as a night diner. A lot of the bars at the time there were more than nightclubs. There were Frankie's, Sammy Keys out there, Cabaret, the Boardwalk, and these places would close at 2:00 with literally hundreds of people and bartenders, and he would fill right up all night long, feeding the bar crowd, and it was very successful until he was riding a bicycle one day. He hit his head and he had to go to the hospital, and he kind of retired then. Yeah. Tom was mentioning he was in a coma for a long time, right? He was in a coma for a long, long time. We had some people praying for him and went up there with oils and everything. And after 6 weeks, he came out, and it took him a while to come back. But he's fine. He's fine now. He's like I said, he still swims at the Y. Yep.
Nice. So he was in there for 6 weeks in Tacoma, you said?
6 weeks.
That was crazy.
They said he's never gonna be normal again. But but it took a while. Yeah, he came back. Correct.
That was pretty much when he retired from the liquor business and the diner Okay.
Yeah.
Well, so I'm glad to hear he's doing well and
he's doing fine. Yeah, he misses a lot of his old friends, his old buddies there in the exciting days of the Castaways. The Chinellis and his friend Carl Brayman built the Castaways, and he was a real big part of that. And building up of North Syracuse, they had the Lions Day parade. Nick was a big, not my Uncle Nick there. He was a president of the Lions Club, and not as big as it was huge then, but they had a parade up and down North Syracuse every June, and it was all the businesses in the area got a queen, a beauty. It was a beauty contest, and they would put these girls. They would put these girls on convertibles, and they would ride down the streets like a beauty pageant. But not only that, they got the National Guard to supply tanks. Real tanks, and not just Jeeps. They supplied tanks that rolled down the streets. They had flyovers. It was quite the event. And I happened to be fortunate enough that Uncle Nick says, you can drive. I was 16, and he says, you can drive the sheriff. And it was Sheriff Pat Corbett. Look it up at the old sheriff. So I was driving the sheriff, and we were drinking Bloody Marys on the road with the sheriff. It was during the parade. It was
nice.
It was a different time. Yeah.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah.
All right, I suppose wrap it up here. Is there any other good stories that you want to bring up?
Yeah, one last story. Dr. Marlowe, Dr. Marolo's partner, was in North Syracuse. He was the doctor to go to, and he was also a Boy Scout leader. And we were all in the Boy Scout troops, and my father was one of the adult leaders. And one weekend, that we had a camp out scheduled at Kennedy Park in North Syracuse, and we went to Kennedy. We slept in tents. Now that forecast for that weekend was 0, and it ended up being without the chill, without the wind chill. It was 20 below 0. We slept in tents at 20 below 0. There ended up being about 15, 20 of us that stayed the whole weekend. Dr. Marlowe was there with us, and if you had kids today sleeping in 20 below 0 in tents, I think there might be a problem. But again, that was then. This is now. North Syracuse was the center of the universe for a lot of people for a lot of years.
Wow. Yeah, that's where I grew up, and I thought it was a great place to grow up and hang out as a kid. And, well, thank you for talking with me and sharing some of your stories.
Okay, thank you.
Was there? Do you want to promote anything, your business, or?
Well, no. Well, I'm in the insurance business, in bonds and health insurance, this and that. Just remember that Frank's Plank Road Cafe is still family. Okay. Nestico's is still family. The Procopios have a few other things. They're mostly doctors, though. They took a different route. We went to the Zangaris and the Freeses went to lawyers and restaurants. So that's that. But
is the Clam Bar still in the family, or was that sold?
Clam Bar, no. The Clam Bar is sold. No. But Frank's, Frank's is they sold the Clam Bar in the '60s. Yeah. But it was a pleasure talking to you.
Yeah. Don't hang up just yet. I'm going to just cut to a break here, and I'll be back right after this.
We're New York's fastest growing independent rental store, and we're opening our newest showroom in Shop City Mall. Call today, 437-6662. It's so easy. There's no credit check, no down payment, great grand opening specials on laundry and furniture. For the biggest selection of brand name appliances, TVs, and furniture, call Rainbow Rent to Own today. Where your dreams come true. Rainbow Rent to Own.
We're back in the Syracuse Nostalgia Podcast. I'd like to thank Peter Zangari Jr. for the great interview. And now the segment of the show is when I play a old song from a local artist. This month we have the Born Again Savages that my friend Zadoc knows a little bit about.
I would hope so, after I've been in the band for about 6 years.
Yeah, see? So how is that experience playing with those guys?
It's a challenge.
Really?
I mean, I originally started jamming with those guys through our sister band, Undergang, and I wound up replacing the guitar player in that band, Joe Savage.
Oh.
And
so why shouldn't it be Born Again Angels then?
I could make that suggestion at next band practice, but
or if you wanted like go along with the theme of some of your other bands, it could be Zadoc and the Born Again Savages. So you've had Zadoc and the Nightmare and some other bands.
I could take over this band.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. you gotta use it to your advantage. But I mean, are you involved with the writing of the material and stuff like that now, or?
In recent days, yeah.
Okay.
But I mean, it was interesting for me because Joe is like kind of my local guitar hero.
Oh.
And to kind of step into his shoes, and now be in a band where we're kind of sharing the guitar duties, it's a lot different, and rather than trying to put my own spin on what he's doing. So it's
nice.
Trying to, get the old stuff sounding more modern and write new stuff around the two guitar.
Well, this song...
of course, Tom Around the World. Everybody knows Tommy.
Oh, yeah. He's been around the world.
Yeah. And I.
And he makes a lot of groovy buttons.
He does. He made a really good one for me back about, when was it, November?
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. We're not going to go into that.
No, it's FT, I think it was?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was. Yeah, that's the one.
We won't go into that.
We won't go into that, but I got a lot of wear out of that. And
the song is from 1994. Is that... I think that's pretty much when they started, or they...
No, they had a couple of years before.
Oh, all right. Well, this song is called Wonder Bread, and I always, when I say Wonder Bread, I have to say, Square Wonder Bread, because I think of the Eddie Murphy skit from, I think it's Raw or Delirious, I'm not sure which one. Do you know what I mean? No?
Yeah, it's from Raw.
It's from Raw, okay. Where his mother says she can make a hamburger as good as McDonald's, and... Better than McDonald's? And he's using his little kid voice, And she's like, I make you better than McDonald's. And he's like, go get me the bread. And he goes to get the bread, and he has no rolls. So he's like, Mom, we ain't got no hamburger buns. We just got Square Wonder Bread. So whenever I heard the word Wonder Bread, I always think, Square Wonder Bread. So...
It's because, much like me, you have musical and movie line Tourette's.
I think so, yes. And if you... we can talk about this some other time, but the old show UMTV, the cable access show.
Yeah.
I was interviewed on there with my old band, and the host of that show called himself Wonder Bread.
Yes,
so,
he did.
In the interview, I kept calling him Square Wonder Bread, and he thought I was nuts. But anyway.
Well, you are.
I do. I am. Square Wonder Bread. All right. The song's called Wonder Bread, and it's from 1994, Born Again Savages, on the album Soup of the Day. Is that right?
That's correct.
Soup of the Day. Here's Wonder Bread.
On the Syracuse Nostalgia Podcast.
Suburbanite, we can't keep a beat because we're terminally white. Mommy and Daddy like Junior Ward Clipper made whoopee last night. I got a brother named Beaver. There's a party on the patio at 7 o'clock. We're cranking Barry Manilow, that Mandy Tune rocks. Not. I get up every morning and I go to work. Got a 401k plan, I'm no jerk. I'm Wonder Bread, a little slice of life. 2.3 kids and I'm doomed for life. Well, middle West Side with suburbanites. We can't keep a beat because we're terminally white. Driving in my K car, sure to arrive. I never break the law, never over 55. 4-bedroom house, high up in the hills. I cook juicy steaks on my new gas grill. I go to the country club, I eat a lot of brie. My daddy is a lawyer, don't mess with me. Don't mess with me. Wonder bread, a little slice of life. 2.3 kids and I'm doomed for life. Wonder bread, a little slice of life. 2.3 kids and I'm doomed for Kicking, finger licking, booty so juicy like a southern fried chicken. No 11 herbs to make it so spicy. One secret herb that will do me just nicely. Smoke another blunt and we'll drink another 40. Getting kind of wet 'cause we're going to a party. You got acid, you should take it. Get butt wild and we'll get butt naked. Get butt naked, get butt naked. Let's all. I'm Wonder Bread, a little slice of life. 2.3 kids and I'm doomed for life. Wonder Bread, a little slice of life. 2.3 kids and I'm doomed for life.
That was Square Wonder Bread, without the square, from Born Again Savages. I'd like to thank everyone who listened to the show, and if you can spread the word, that'd be great. You know, click like, give it 5 stars, or just share it or something. Help get the word out there.
Can we spread the word on our Square Wonder Bread?
And the Square Wonder Bread, that'd be nice. And yeah, do this for free. So if anybody wants to help out, they can click on the ads on my page or on the podcast page. It helps me out. It gives me a few pennies. Or you can buy my merchandise at SyracuseNostalgia.com. I have some DVDs and shirts and all sorts of stuff. And so all that stuff helps out. And if anybody knows anybody who might make a good guest, contact me on my page or my Facebook or Twitter account. Because I'm always looking for new guests, and it'd be nice to get some advertising too. If there are any local companies out there that want to advertise on the show, get a hold of me and we can work something out. So thank you to Peter Zangari and everyone listening, and thanks Bob and Zadoc for chatting with me.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man.
All right, it was fun. We'll see you next time on the Syracuse Nostalgia Podcast.